Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com and ChrisVossGaming.com. We're coming here with a wonderful podcast. We're going to be interviewing game developers today. It's going to be really cool. There's a new fun game that we've had out that we've been playing with. We gotten involved in the Discord and everything. We invited the developers to come on the show and tell us more about the game, what their plans are. It's in alpha mode right now. It's called GTFO. That's GTFO, and you can go to gtfothegame.com to see it. The developer on it is 10chambers.com. And we want to welcome to the show today Simon Vickland. Simon, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good. It's glad to have you.
Be here.
Where are you coming to us from, by the way, in the world?
Stockholm, Sweden.
And are you guys largely based in Stockholm, 10 Chambers?
Yeah, we're all in Stockholm, yes.
All right, that's good. So you guys have been developing this game, and me and my crew, we spent, about 3 or 4 hours playing this thing. And it's a really cool game setup and everything else that goes into it. The graphics are awesome. The gameplay is fun. Do you want to give us a lowdown? Tell us about what the game is about.
Yeah, it's a 4-player cooperative PvE first-person shooter game, leaning heavily into horror with a lot of exploration and stealth, but also intense. Occasionally you get into intense combat as well.
Definitely, and there's a strategic aspect too. It's not just running and gunning and shooting, which is kind of something that appealed to me, even though I love to run, gun, and shoot. There's kind of a strategic, logical thing where sometimes instead of running, gunning, and shooting, you've got to disable enemies that are asleep, or you've got to work around them. There's an engagement format in some cases. There's a non-engagement sort of format in other cases. And that's one of the things I really love about the game, because it wasn't just run and shoot, go through a bunch of levels, shoot up a bunch of stuff, have fun. There you go. And there's plenty of games in that competitive sphere. But the thing that really drew me to GTFO was the graphics are great. The gameplay is great. The guns are really cool. The aspect of, and the other things too, is you're kind of, what's the right word? You're kind of leaned out on ammo. So you've got to use clubs. You can't just cheat your way running and gunning through the thing. You've got to use strategy. You've got to use clubs. You've got your ammo's on a lean sort of system. So if you blow your ammo in certain areas that are easy, when you get to hard areas where you need ammo, you're in trouble.
They become even harder because you don't have any ammo. Yeah.
Oh, do they really? Is that the mechanic?
No, because you can't stop. I mean,
you can't stop.
You start out with a little bit of ammo. You can find some ammo, throughout the expeditions, but you're not rewarded with resources by killing the monsters. You don't get any ammunition or health or anything from killing the monsters. So it's very, by design made so that there is no upside to aggravating the monsters if they're sleeping.
Yeah. And you can creep around, you can kill them. It's kind of interesting, the aspect of the sleeping, where if you make too much noise around them, they start to wake up. You can see this heart beating, and everybody has to be like, nobody move, don't move, don't.
It gets tense.
And I love it. It reminded me a lot of the movie Alien, where you're running around the ship, you don't know where anything is, you're and the aliens in it are scary as hell, and some of it's a little bit of horror and gross.
yeah definitely.
I think that adds to the factor of shock and the factor of like, I don't want to die by these guys.
Yeah, exactly. I think once we decided that we wanted to make a pure co-op game and really push the boundaries of cooperative gameplay, it was sort of a perfect fit to go into the horror territory, because if the game has a scary setting and a scary atmosphere, it becomes natural to try to move together and think more about more deliberately moving through the environment rather than just running through it and running and gunning sort of. So the atmosphere itself sort of compels you to think as a team.
And what's the storyline? I mean, why are we sent in here? What's the storyline on why this is happening to us and why we're participating in this thing as the characters in the game?
It is mostly mysteries as you start the game, and we will reveal, details and backstory throughout the updates that we'll release post, after the game's been released. We'll keep, supporting it and keep expanding the game. So as you start out, it's mostly mysteries, really.
Our job is to go down there and solve the mysteries and figure stuff out and find out what's going on.
It's sort of a labor camp sort of setup where you're kept, prisoners, and then you're forced down into this underground complex because your captors obviously don't want to go down there because this dark abandoned underground complex is filled with these flesh-eating monsters, and they'd rather send you down there than go down themselves.
That's pretty evil, man. And that just makes you
so you don't know who's holding you captive or what their agenda is. You don't know what where the monsters came from, or even what the underground complex was used for before it was abandoned and overrun by these monsters. So there's a lot of yarn to untangle.
And I like the mixture of how the monsters are semi I don't know if they're human, but they appear to be semi-human. Like one of the kind of assumptions I made, and I don't know if we're giving away anything in the game. I don't know this for a fact. I'm just my assumption. But my assumption was these are people who used to work in this area, and they broke open this area, or hit into this area of aliens, and then all shit broke loose, and now they're suffering from the disease of becoming these aliens. I don't know if that's what it is, but that's kind of what I assume.
It is designed to be sort of ambiguous. Like, are they aliens? Are they, humans, is it humans that have been infected by something? Was it something that was, buried in the underground? It could be several different things, but at this point we don't want to really reveal anything.
And then I'm not sure what they call this sort of game mode, but basically you go down as a for a 4-player co-op, and if you all wipe, you all die, you go back to the beginning. It's completely reset.
Yeah. For longer expeditions, there will be some sort of a checkpoint.
That'll be good.
We're working on that so that we can. I mean, it's supposed to be unforgiving, but there's a limit, to where. We start rage quitting.
I think we did it about 20 times, and we kept getting deeper every time. But it was starting to grind a little bit. And you guys do move stuff around so that when you go back through, it's not the same exact experience again, which is cool. But it was becoming frustrating. It was fun up until about the 20th time, and then the 20th time we're like, we need a checkpoint. And it would be great if you made 2 versions of the game, and maybe that's your intent, to make a hard mode that has a total death wipe, and then you made one for weak, crappy players like me.
There will be difficulty options in the game.
That'll be cool. That'll be cool.
Not so conventional ones, but we're going to explore that because we realize that the game is going to be quite narrow, and we might want to have a little bit more of a width to the potential user base.
Yeah, I mean, any game that I've ever played, there are certain aspects or certain things of the game that I get tired of repeating, and just make me want to leave the game. I won't name any. Well, I won't beat up on anybody. But the cool thing about the game is it starts out, and like you say, your captors are slaves, and you're being forced onto this drop machine, this elevator sort of drop machine that lowers you into this pit, and you're greeted by seeing that there's different levels of this underground facility that appear to have been built by humans or us, and our job is to go down and explore those levels, kill enemies, try and find stuff. There's different lockers that you've got to scrounge through or scavenge through, find. You get ammo, different packs that can help you with your thing. And the whole time you were really lean on ammo, and you've got these special clubs that you can have that are pretty cool looking. And so a lot of times you try and club as much as you can. And then when you get to the shit storms, and then what's really cool too that I loved is not only there's darkness, and so you've got to kind of find your way around. And sometimes you can have enemies like standing right beside you, and you don't know they're there until their heart starts glowing and start
Yeah.
waking up. And you're like,
Yeah.
ah. And then I like how also there's a suspense factor where when you reach certain doors that you've got to open, there's one person on the team who can look inside the room with, I guess, a scanner or radar
Yeah.
and know what's in the room. And that just adds a level of suspense and crap your pants sort of thing, because you're like, oh God, there's a whole lot of them in the room.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to rely on that person also
Yeah,
to give you the, paint the picture of what's inside and where the
yeah.
monsters are, because yeah,
And
you
then you've
don't
got to
get the
work the
information.
room in a sort of, you almost sometimes have to crawl around the room and slowly kill outside guys without waking up the other guys. And then if you do, then it just gets really crazy. And I'm not sure what the correct term of this. I heard some people calling them scouts. We used to call him the tentacle dude or the octopus. And he's got these tentacles that are constantly reaching around. And I guess if he accidentally touches you, he becomes immune, I guess. And then
Yeah,
it becomes
for a few
worse.
seconds, you can't, at that point you can't stop it from screaming.
Yeah, and then just the whole thing goes off the rails.
Yeah, it wakes up all the monsters in the room, but also there will be, we spawn new monsters
Yeah.
basically
Well,
that
thanks
also
for that.
come running. It is
Thanks for that.
it's a cool monster because it visualizes the view cone of the monster in a nice way. Instead
Yeah.
of, in some stealth games, you get the problem when you're supposed to sneak around, guards and stuff, because you don't know exactly where they're looking. And we wanted to create something where you can see, like there's a reason why you can see exactly where that monster is looking. So we
Mhm.
replace the eyes with those tentacles, and they become sort of the view cone. They go in all directions, but I mean, if you're standing behind a pillar or something, you will see these noodly tendrils, coming on the sides of the pillar that you're standing behind,
Yeah.
and it becomes really, clear to you that if you step out on this either side of this pillar that you're standing behind, you will touch one of those tendrils, and then the monster will detect you. So yeah, it's a nice, it's really just the result of that thought process, like how do we visualize the view cone of this enemy.
It does keep you on the edge of your seat. I mean, it's puzzle solving, high intensity combat when the combat comes. I mean, your team not only has to be able to sneak around, solve puzzles, be strategic, but it also, there's sometimes where you're just like, everyone just fucking shoot shit, and
Yeah, at that
but
point
you have to pick
at
your
that point
battles.
you yeah, when shit, inevitably hits the fan every once in a while, it's good to have known in advance that was going to happen, so
Yeah.
that you have agreed upon within the team what is the fallback plan, what is, where's the choke point or the kill zone that you want to create,
Mm-hmm.
and you maybe you've already placed a few trip mines, around that part of the room or of the general area. Sentry guns, you foam the doors to reinforce them so that it takes longer for the monsters to
Yeah.
to claw their way through the doors. It'll buy you some time. So there's a lot of strategy involved in anticipating combat situations and preparing for them before they start.
I remember the first time we're like, just run back through the door and close it. And we close it and we're like, mother of God, they're going through the fucking door. Ah! And we're
Yeah.
like, foam it, foam it. And it's like, holy shit, there's no, oh man. I mean, it is just a scare fest, but it's fun. It's suspenseful. We just got hooked right away. The graphics are excellent for an alpha game. I mean, we usually try and play a lot of alpha games, and some are really bad. Ghost Recon. And not to mention names, and probably a much larger budget, which is surprising than maybe what you guys have. I'm assuming your budgets, but some of the recent alphas, I mean, we just kind of like, seriously. But the game almost plays like a finished game, which is pretty amazing. When do you guys have an anticipated date of release for this at all?
Well, we are there's a lot of features that need to be added
Mm.
before we can call it a finished game. And we're super happy, obviously, that people enjoyed this alpha, even though it contained only one expedition.
Yeah, people are just
Uh,
grinding the hell out of it. You guys have a ton of people in your Discord. How many people are in your Discord now? Like 50,000 or something like that?
yeah, something. Yeah, it grew from
Yeah.
like what was it, 12, 11, something like that, and
Yeah.
then during the alpha, it just
I think it's brilliant
fivefolded.
too how you guys are spreading the word. Every time you give someone an alpha code, they can give away 3, which is smart because it's a 4-player co-op. So you want your 3 best friends.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I have a Discord for what we do with gaming, and it's largely a Destiny Bungie Discord group, but
Mm.
we talk about all games. And one of my friends got an invite from somebody who started playing GTFO, and I was like, well, what is this game? And I started looking at the things. I'm like, this looks really cool. And so, yeah, so we got some more codes. We got our whole crew that's on it. Thankfully, one of our crew is in the military. So he's really great for games like this because, he knows how to, pinch zones. He knows like all this stuff of, okay, well, it's set up so that, he kind of knows the military sort of way of smartly going around and clearing rooms and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
he comes in real handy for games like this.
Yeah, it
um
sounds like a good fit for someone
oh
in
yeah, yeah,
GTFO squad.
yeah. If you're gonna play GTFO, get a military guy who's done basic training at the very least to come help you out, because yeah,
Yeah.
he'll like, you guys need to play the pinch zone and fall back, and then of course you guys provide the foam, and then there's trip mines, and then there's also, I think it's a gun, it's a turn, I think, isn't it?
Sentry gun. Yeah.
Yeah, the sentry gun. Wow, that thing really came in handy when we got it. That thing
What
came in
we try
really
to
handy.
think of is also to create tools, because there will be more tools than those 4.
Uh,
We want to have a whole bunch of different tools, and I think it's a testament, that the game is interesting in other ways than just shooting. Once you start feeling the need for things that aren't just larger mags for your guns, or larger calibers for your weapons, but actually things that help you anticipate the combat, and know things that are otherwise kept secret from you, sort of. So yeah, it'll be interesting to increase, or like widen the set of tools in the game, and see how people really like. It'll be angst already in the loadout menu, because whatever tool you choose to bring, that you're leaving all these other tools behind that you can't
yeah.
have, because even a 4-player team, you can only bring 4 tools.
Uh-huh.
And in order to be a good Swiss Army knife sort of within the team, as a team, you want to be a Swiss Army knife, and in order for that to happen, you need to choose weapons, or weapons as well, of course, but the tools are super important. They're sort of the class for your character. We don't have a class system, but whatever tool you choose will be sort of deciding what sort of a character you are in the squad. And what I was beginning to say in the beginning of this wordy answer is that we're trying to think of ways for the tools to be symbiotic as well, so that the sentry gun can be placed, and then you shoot a little bit of foam in front of the sentry gun, and then the
Oh,
monsters will stick in the foam, and they
and
will
then the
be
gun will take them out. I
sitting
didn't think of
ducks.
that.
Yeah.
Wow. We always
uh,
foamed the doors and then we put the sentry gun up, but I never thought about putting that right in front of the.
yeah,
That's
foaming the
pretty
doors,
smart.
or even just closing the doors, and then putting a trip mine on the inside of the door, allows the monsters to sort of crowd on the other side of the
Mhm.
door, and then as they come through, there's like 5, 6 of them maybe, and then they're all killed by that trip mine, rather
Yeah.
than just setting a mine, and just the first monster that runs through the doorway will blow up the mine, and only that monster dies. There's
Nice.
a lot of like tactical depth to just the few things we have in the game now, and we have a lot of ideas for how to expand upon it.
Between the terror of the monsters and like there's some that just have like fucking teeth coming out of their freaking head, and some are just utterly gross before or after you kill them. Some look like they really have had their acne pimple problem get out of hand. Um, but between that and just okay, we're gonna open this door and shit's gonna break loose, and then you clear a room and you're like, oh, all right, whew, we cleared the room, and then you're just like, oh fuck, there's another.
Yeah, there's the next room is filled with monsters.
There's you go through these waves of relief and then shock and horror and then suspense. And then sometimes you go in a room and you're just like, is there something here? Is there something? It's really dark. Oh, there's nothing here. Oh, God. Oh, thank God, there's nothing here, man. Wow.
Three, three of the team members worked on, including me, worked on the Payday games.
Mm.
Payday 2. I worked on that game actually as a freelancer or a consultant or whatever, adding music and some voice acting to that game for all the way up until a year ago when they officially stopped supporting the game. But anyway, we worked on that game, and that has a little bit of what we're doing in GTFO. It's a 4-player co-op PvE game, purely PvE. No versus mode or anything. And it's a lot about cooperative, cooperation and stuff. And you have some stealth in that game as well, but it's a little bit less sophisticated in that you can start in stealth, but once you go out of stealth, you can never go back to sneaking again. And what I think is nice in GTFO is that it can have that drama curve of going up in intensity, and then you can actually sort of contain the combat within that room. And then as you move on to the next room, once you've killed all the monsters, you've reset everything and you can go back to stealth again. And it pays off to really, even in one room, once you hear a couple of monsters wake up around you, don't resort to firearms immediately. You can, if everyone in the team just runs up to one monster each and kills them with the hammers, maybe you can contain even within the room, and all the other monsters that are like further away in that same room still haven't woken up. So there's a lot of just keep your head straight and keep your tongue in your mouth. Everything is like, don't go, don't resort to firearms too quickly.
Yeah, you learn that very quickly when you run out, when you're first 2 rooms you're out of ammo and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
But no, that up and down of what you were talking about, the suspense and then being able to go back to sneaking and the suspense, that just makes it worse. The suspense and horror and terror, but it's also thrilling at the same time. We're just like, this is so crazy, let's start again. And to me, it was we all got hooked on it like right away within a short time of playing it. I mean, we were just like hooked. Like, what is this? This is really cool. The gameplay is really nice. I mean, for an alpha, it looks really sweet. It almost comes across like a finished product. What's the best way people can get access to this game if they want to play the alpha? It's pretty open, isn't it?
Yeah, we will beta test the game a little bit until we go into early access, which we're planning to do in December. So there's not a lot of time, but between now and when we're going into early access, we hope to have a few beta tests. And if you want to be part of that, you should sign up to become a 10 Chambers ambassador, either on 10chambers.com or gtfothegame.com.
Okay.
There will be like a pop-up on the website that asks for your email, and you just sign up. There's no doesn't cost anything, and it's basically our mailing list where we email you every once in a while, assuming that you're interested in this game, a little, a few updates on what's happening, and then you'll get instructions on how to acquire beta keys.
And you guys are doing a really great job building a community, I must say. If you go into the Discord for you guys have updates on there. You're totally transparent on just about everything that people would need to know. And then there's even different groups that are currently running that you can either interact with or I think join. There's other groups that are in 4-man crews going and doing the stuff. You can almost kind of LFG out of it, if I recall rightly. But yeah, I mean, it's basically every time one of your friends gets a alpha code, they have access to 3 invites. They can send 3 invites, and I think that's brilliant. It's almost like multi-level marketing.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're self-funded, and we
Mhm.
have to be really clever with how we use our money. And we just this is one of the reasons why the alpha looks and plays so good. Is uh, at first we thought like let's just make an alpha and for testing the network, which is still what it was mainly for. But as we started thinking, like, okay, this is actually going to be the first time a lot of people play the game. We're not going to be able to. We can prevent. We can say that people can't, you know, put up videos of it on YouTube or stream it on Twitch
Mhm.
and Mixer and stuff. But we can't prevent that. We can't actually enforce that ban
Yeah.
if people would start doing it. So let's just actually polish the alpha until it's plays so well and looks so good that it becomes sort of a marketing event rather.
I think that's freaking brilliant because I test a lot of games and reviewed a lot of games, and there's nothing more annoying than when you gotta. And I don't mind NDAs. I'm used to after 10 years NDAs and stuff and things, but there's nothing worse than when you're trying to test the game and you can either see your name on the screen so they know who it is if you broadcast it,
Yeah.
or and it's got like codes and stuff, and you're like, I can't even see what the hell is going on in this stupid game. But I think it's brilliant what you guys are doing. You guys are creating um, a loyal base of really committed core people to your vision. They're sharing it out. Like I said, I was part of the multiple marketing spread out of of like, hey, here's my thing. In fact, I didn't get a code from my friends. I heard from my friends that got one, and I was like, "What? You guys got a code? What?" And then I looked it up in the gameplay, and I was like, "Whoa, I want to play this game." And so, fortunately, we have a thing, and I wrote to one of your guys in the Discord and hunted down someone to talk to there, and they gave me a code. I don't know, it might have been you. Um, but and they were really great and responsive to both on, I think, on Twitter. Whoever's running your social did a good job too. I got answers back from a lot of different sources all at once, but then I gave mine, and then I got my crew in it, and I think it's just brilliant. It's a brilliant way to go. It looks better than most alpha games. It almost looks like a finished game. In fact, if you would have told me that was a finished game, I'd have been fine. I would have been like, yeah, probably. um the fact there's no checkpoints for me,
Okay.
just for me.
Yeah, it's noted.
But most of my friends, we went, just, we immediately were hooked playing the thing, and
Yeah.
we didn't care. We wiped. Okay, all right, we got to be smarter. We got to work this through. Okay, yeah, we got to resolve our mistakes. We're used to doing that with raids, on different games like Destiny and stuff. So we're used to piling out the crew and going, okay, who's doing what? I'm doing this, and you're doing that, and um but it's just so damn addictive, and I'm not big into horror games because I hate the suspense. um One of the problems I used to have with Doom back in the day, and I used to play Doom a lot, was, yeah, I would get that fight or flight chemical pumped into my stomach so much that I would start getting violently ill, and I'd have to quit playing because it would it just overwhelm me. And this game's really different because there's a yin and yang, the suspense and drama and horror and challenge, of where you can have moments of like, let's just all take a breather before we open the next door. We got the room cleared. Let's just all like, whew, calm down
Yeah.
and take a break. And then, it's just ramping up.
Yeah.
So you guys have been at this for how long? You guys been building this game, 10 Chambers?
3.5, 4 years.
Wow, man, that's a lot of time.
4 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why it looks so polished, because we've been working on it for
Mhm.
such a long time before people got to play it. And yeah, as you said, we have a nice community going, and they're really uh, loyal. We hope.
Mhm.
Well, we know that we've been keeping them from playing the game for a long time. They've been very patient, which we're happy about. That they've been waiting, and
Well, you guys
they
are doing good updates. I mean, I've been a person who's built community in my years of being on social, and so you guys are doing just a great job on social. I mean, in my Destiny Discord, we have your news pumped in, so whenever you guys put out a news thing, it pumps in. So we're exposing our clans in our Discord to it.
That's lovely.
And it's just a bloody riot, really. Are you going to keep it set up kind of the format it is, or will there maybe be a story mode in the future, or does that kind of go against the grain of the design of the
Well,
game?
you might, when you start thinking about it, you'll realize how difficult it would be to actually have a story mode in a game where you can play 4 people together.
Yeah.
Because like maybe 1 or 2 players in a team of 4 are interested in the story, and then they stop to read some sort of a, I don't know, a logbook or watching a cutscene or something. Not that we have the budget to make cutscenes or anything like that, but the story, there is a story. We have a backstory for the entire universe, sort of, or who's keeping you captive, and who are you, and where did the monsters come from, and everything. We have answers to those questions, and we're going to reveal them through logbooks and log entries and like sort of recordings and stuff like that. But it'll be on a interested in it basis, sort of. So you'll collect these things throughout the as you play the game. And you can read those logs in the menu later on, in between sort of your play sessions, rather than stopping the team. You don't want to be the one reading a log entry while the three other players are just jumping up and down waiting for you.
Or cutscenes are good. You can skip through those a lot of times with any given game. But I don't know. I think the game's perfect the way it is. I mean, it's unlike anything. I know a lot of times when we have cutscenes, we really get tired of them. I know on a lot of games that I play, I shut off the narrative because I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Just let me play the game. I don't want to see your cutscene.
Yeah, but what if one person wants to see the cutscene and the others skip it?
There's people that they're into the story. I've seen people bashing. I mean, I remember when Vanilla Destiny came out, there were people bashing the story, and they're like, "You have to tell me a story to make me feel vested in this." I don't, I've just never been that sort of same way. I like to run a gun. The lore of some things is cool.
You don't have time for story.
But no, man. I mean, the graphics are awesome. The gameplay is awesome. There's so much involved with cerebrally. Is that a word? Clearly, I went to public school. There's a cerebral. It's not just run and gun. It's cerebral. It's strategy. It's a chess match in space, basically, with nasty ass aliens.
And I think there are things that you can do when a game is scripted, like Dead Space games, and other horror games like the latest Resident Evil. Every time you go behind this door, this thing happens, or everything is like decided in beforehand with custom animation, and it's nice, and the music can build up towards something that is going to happen. And that's cool, but it's the same every time you play it, more or less. In GTFO, we're trying to do something different, where it's like
totally random.
We don't know anything. Like we randomize where the monsters are, even where the key that you're looking for is, and stuff like that. So the combat took place in this room last attempt, but this time you go there's not even monsters in that room. And if you succeed in sneaking past the monsters, one attempt, next attempt maybe you fail, and then that room becomes the place where that huge battle takes place, because you accidentally triggered the scout, and now you got 30 monsters running into that room and stuff like that. So replayability becomes great just from the fact that it's sort of, sandbox would be the wrong term, but it's more like open-ended in that regard.
And that makes it fun. That makes it, when you wipe and you go back in, that it's not going to be the same exact crap, because that would get old quick.
Absolutely. I think we're striking a nice balance where enough stuff is new for you to need to be on your toes at all times, but at the same time you can learn from past mistakes, because sort of what it's all about in that part of the map. So it's a balance there. We didn't want to change too much, because then it becomes, if you can't learn from past mistakes, you're making so little progress every attempt. And we want people to be able to play it for 6, 8, 10 attempts, and then actually make the progress. As you said, I'm flattered that you played for 20 attempts and didn't grow tired of it until
No, in fact, the only thing
until
we were
that, you
growing
know.
tired of is just being at the edge of our suspense seats. We were just like, I got to take a break and feel my legs and to kind of unwind from all this horror of these crazy monsters that are going to be bad nightmares later.
Yeah. Well, that's
No,
nice to
it
hear.
was fun.
That's what we hear from a lot of people, that it's fun even in failure. Like even
Yeah,
when you fail, you're having a lot of fun.
yeah,
And the fact that it takes so long, you know, it's a rather long expedition, the alpha expedition that we released. We wanted to kick the door in and really, you know, show the community, when we've said that the game is hardcore, that it's going to be difficult and it's going to put a lot of pressure on you as a team to actually coordinate and communicate and move as a unit and really play together and cooperate, rather than, as I'd like to say that a lot of games that claim to be cooperative are really only games where you play alongside one another, but you
yeah.
don't really need to cooperate. You know, one player can carry the team. That's not the case in GTFO.
And
But anyway,
my
when we
team's sorry, go ahead.
when we unleashed the game, we wanted to really show that the game can be really hard. So we released this. We allowed this alpha expedition, this one expedition that people got to play during the alpha, to be very challenging, so that people could, you know, really appreciate it. And what we got from a lot of people is that, you know, even failing is fun, because not a lot of games put this sort of pressure on you, and it's fun to be challenged like this.
Yeah, see, a lot of games that we'll play, especially with my crew, is between raiding or dungeons. You know, 3-man raids, 6-man raids, 3-man dungeons. You know, there's a lot of this that goes on. There's some games that make the mechanics so incredibly stupid, painful, and just they overdo it because I guess they lack the creative concept to do anything else. Um, that you just want to quit some of those games, and sometimes we do. The interesting thing about what you guys did with the mechanics of it, the mechanics are very simple. At least, you know, from what we've seen so far. I mean, you have a club, you have a limited amount of ammo. You can't just run around and club everything, because then shit gets out of hand quick. And not everything, unless you do a full club hit, kills it. So you want to be strategic in what you're doing. So what's really cool is there's not too many mechanics, but there are mechanics there, and they're unforgiving. And that just makes them all the more like, you're like, okay, well, we've got to stick with the mechanics. But, you know, it's not like we're, you know, oh, you have to stand on a plate over there and I got to hold up my arm, someone's going to scratch their fucking belly, and, you know, we got to pull a rubber band, and, you know, it's just stupid shit that you're just like, for fuck's sakes, I just want to kill stuff. I'm just here to deal with my issues from childhood. And you know, it's one of the complaints I have with some of my favorite game makers, that, you know, they're taking the game mechanics just way too far for like a raid or a dungeon. You're just like, look, man, there just becomes a point where it reaches a level of stupidity. And you guys, I mean, it's really simple. It's not like I gotta go to college or read an encyclopedia to figure out how to beat the game. You know, I mean, we learned mostly through failure, and we're used to doing this a little bit. I think most gamers are, that are hardcore gamers. We're used to problem solving
Yeah.
and crew. I don't know what the right word is. Crewmanship, where you know, okay, you do that, you do this, you get that tool, you do that. So it's a lot of fun. I was super impressed with the game, and it's like I said, as far as I was concerned, if you were to tell me it was a finished product, I would have believed it. The graphics are cool. The aliens are just freaky. As I mean, if it's not bad enough that the aliens, you know, are going to kill you and crap, they're horror to look at.
Yeah, they're very ugly. Yeah,
They're just like,
we take
man, look
pride
how
in them.
ugly that dude is. Oh my god, his chest is open. What the hell is going on? And so it's just fun. So 10 Chambers, tell us about who 10 Chambers is, what you guys did, how you got here, and all that stuff.
10 Chambers was founded by Ulf Anderson, who was the brain behind the Payday games, the entire franchise, actually. So he was a founding member of Overkill Software, which created and developed the first pay to the heist. As was I, actually, one of the founding members. But yeah, he went on to create this new company, and he named it 10 Chambers because he wanted to in the name sort of indicate that we're not supposed to grow beyond 10 people, because he thinks, and I agree with him fully, that the best parts of both our careers in gaming, which have, I think, he's been working in games since late 90s, and I worked professionally in games since 2000. So both of our careers, we've been on larger companies and we've been in smaller ones, and it's always been more fun to be in the smaller ones because you can really put your mark or your thumbprint on the product, and you can become sort of more integral to the development, rather than being a small cogwheel in a larger machinery. So we're keeping it small. Right now we're 9 people, so we have room for one more. We're all friends or past colleagues from other companies, so we all know one another from before. And that creates a certain culture within the company, and we have a nice shorthand and a rapport,
that's pretty awesome, man. 10 people building this game, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, and that includes biz dev and
that is crazy, man.
Economy and everything.
But it probably makes it better, because like I've yelled at different game developers, usually on my YouTube videos, being like, and I'll be like, who the hell is the one that signs off on this? Because I want to find them and beat them shitless. I don't condone violence. I mean that as a joke in every way, at all times. But still, I'm just like, whoever keeps making these decisions at XYZ developer needs to get fired, and I want to find who that is. And then you realize that some of these developers, have tens of thousands of people or thousands of people, and there's probably not one guy, but there's some of them where I'm just like, you could sit me in your meeting and you would have float that idea that you did that ruined the game, drove people from it. And I would have told you as a player, that's the dumbest fucking thing you could do. And you kind of realize, especially after you work in a lot of corporations, that the group think sometimes contributes to an incredible amount of stupid, because there's a group think of people, and it just kind of spreads to like either peer pressure or like, well, let's just all do that. And, you get 100 people that decide they want to do that, and then you're stuck with it.
Once, there's too many $1 million invested in the product, exactly. It becomes, decisions are made, what's the word? Decision by...
decision by the distributors?
No. Decision by... Sorry, I'm blacking out here. What
decision by committee?
Committee, exactly.
Yeah.
And that kills creativity, really.
Yeah,
because
it really
does. At that point, you're starting to listen to too many people, and you can't have a vision.
Yeah. Bungie was rumored to have some of those relationships with Activision, and some of the tussle about the demands of the game and how it was laid out, how it was played out, and what they wanted. And nowadays, where we live in this world where everything's a loot box and you got to pay to play, sort of enhancements to the game, it becomes really, you start moving away from like, are you a casino machine or are you are we playing games here? What's going on?
Yeah.
And so, I love the game. 10 people. Holy crap, man. Does that create extra pressure though for you guys, or extra workload? Or are you guys able to manage it?
I mean, we have to be really clever with how we manage our time and money, because we can't do what the AAA developers and publishers do. We don't have that sort of a capacity, but we can do other things, like we can do GTFO basically, because I don't think that this is a game that you would ever see from a larger publisher or game developer, because they wouldn't dare to invest their money and time into something that is so niche.
Yeah, they'd be like, where are the loot boxes? And probably keeping the cost down will add to the profitability. I mean, I launched a lot of companies in my younger days where we launched them with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, sweat equity, if you will. And once we finally, started selling the crap out of it, we became immediately profitable and can reinvest our profits.
Yeah.
And that makes a whole big of a difference. And then, of course, you guys are doing a great job listening to the community, keeping your ear to the ground. You guys have built a good community. Some of the big problems that we have with some of the big developers is they get lost in the community, or they only appeal to streamers, or they only listen to streamers. They don't listen to everybody that's in the game. It's like, oh, you don't have a Twitch channel? Fuck you. We're not listening to you. And one of the problems that I've had with some of the games that I've had is they listen to the Twitch streamers who pretty much will, be yes men to anything that people say. I mean, there's some of them that are critical, but they're not as critical as they should be, because they're, making money off the game and getting people to watch it. So they don't want to, you don't want to shoot the golden goose in the head by declaring it's a crappy build. But sometimes they listen to developers or the Twitch people, and they tell them, the Twitch guys will make it harder. And it's like, dude, not everyone's a professional game player. And once you drive away the casual players, I don't know, if you got 10 Twitch players that will play the game,
Yeah.
and then everyone leaves. And I run a lot of clans. In just about any game that we play, I build a clan and try and run clans. And so I really am affected and get to see when a game turns a corner and alienates the casual player base, and they move to another game. Sometimes it's a game launch that does that. Everyone's always like, what's the newest game? But there are other times where they do something that the whole audience just goes, no, we're out of here. Anthem
didn't sign up for this,
and
it's important to have a vision and go for it, because then your audience knows what you're all about, and then you find the people that want what you're prepared to deliver.
Yeah. And so I think it's good, because with 10 people, you can keep your ear to the ground. You can listen to what's going on. You don't have to, like you say, get lost in community where, some boardroom guy comes in and goes, what the hell are we doing? And the sales marketing comes in and goes, we need to get this game launched. And you're like, it's not ready.
Yeah.
And you guys can just make probably better decisions. But it sounds like you guys are in your own kind of like, 10-player suspense drama, where
yeah, sort of.
You're in your own 10 co-op, if you will, 10-player co-op of like, how do we build this game? This thing launched, and we're living on top ramen.
Who's the tank?
But no, it's cool. It sounds like you guys got some really good developers there. They worked on a lot of other games and can bring that collective knowledge to this stuff.
Definitely, yeah.
Are you guys going to stick with 10 people until you launch this game, or do you see it ramping up?
No, we're 9 now. We can go up to 10. So we got one more maybe.
Does the 10 include a PR agent to do the marketing?
Yeah, we have a little bit of like peripheral members and
oh, there you go. So your peripheral members, ambassadors, and stuff.
Yeah, consultants that we use for certain aspects of the development. But yeah, the core team is the 9 of us.
Nice. This is brilliant. This is amazing, man. And I've interviewed a lot of different independent makers, and they're usually like 12 players, 15 people, and of course they have the constraints of the budget. But a lot of times you make better products having that gun to your head, even in movies. Having a gun to your head sometimes creates some of the best work, as opposed to I remember back in the day when I used to build my companies, we had a gun to our head because it was our money, it was our sweat equity. And then once we got money and started building other companies, we just blow all sorts of stupid money, and we're like, why are we losing $50,000 in the first year? Oh yeah, that's because we're just being sloppy and stupid and lazy. And so sometimes you do your best work with that gun to your head. It's kind of funny how life works.
Yeah, you gotta have the right amount of money. Like you can't have zero, but you can't have too much, because then you start. Yeah, as you said, like I mean, what Matrix movie is the best one? The first one, because after that, I'm sure the movie studio was like, "You have
stupider every movie.
You can do whatever you want now. You have all the money because we know it's a hit." And then the second and the third one, my personal opinion, is that they're
Yeah, they just get worse. I
They're
agree with you. They just got more
increasingly
worse and
worse.
more CGI, and to the point where just like this is just like I don't know what this is. You guys just everything is CGI. I
Yeah.
don't even know what's real anymore.
But
And I'm losing
we
my
hope that we have that sort of a balance, yeah,
yeah.
where we're yeah
I think it's
we
great. I can't think of any game that's like it that I've ever played. But I think it's cool. We were addicted from the start, and even though we
yeah.
had early failures, we're like, let's get back the fuck in there.
It is in the pedigree. I mean, when you say that it's nothing there out there like it, I agree. It is in the pedigree of Left 4 Dead. Obviously,
Mhm,
sort of founded the entire genre of the 4-player co-op first-person shooter.
mhm.
And as I mentioned, we've worked on the Payday games, but we want to take it further and make it harder and more demanding for the team to really communicate and coordinate and not get away with playing sloppy or absent-mindedly. So it is a game that it's taxing. I can totally understand that as a player you're not going to be playing this for it's not an 8-hour straight sort of experience, because it's taxing on you. It's a layer cake, and it doesn't contain a lot of relief. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
uh, that's other games can have that. When the bright colors or the bright, the bright lit, uh, surroundings and yeah, even cutscenes and stuff. Uh, you know versus modes. There's a lot of things that we're excluding in this game in order to be
I
able
think
to
I think
focus
it's
more.
smart. I think it's smart, and you could have a sidebar of hey, if you want to watch this stupid video over here, this lore trailer or something like that or whatever. It'd be kind of cool, but yeah, I think if you had too many cutscenes in the game, it would kind of blow it because you would be it would be disengaging you from your interests and stuff.
Yeah,
And here's the funny thing when we're doing like a raid or a dungeon or like different other events in a game, because the repetitive nature of it, not the randomization where the
yeah,
enemies are all the same, everything is the same, and you're doing it repetitively and you're not completing it, then you just want to quit. But with this thing, everything was so different, and you go through different paths, if I recall correctly, right? And there's different paths you can go through depending
yeah,
upon the randomization of the game. And so you're not in the same place. And so, it's just you're like, wow, okay, well, we came through here and there was a shitload of enemies. Now there's not. Okay, great. That just means the next room is a shitstorm. But yeah, it's a great game. If you guys want to check it out, you can go to Steam. You can sign up to I forget what the name of the marker is on the game that you can take and do. You can add it to your wish list on Steam.
yeah. That'd
You
be
can
lovely.
try and find hit that button so that they know they got a great game. People that will buy the game. You can try and find the Discord, I guess, that people want for you guys. I took and hunted down your Discord, and then I hunted down your Twitter and stuff like that, and started reaching out to people. But that, or ask somebody who has the game for a code, and then invite 3 of your friends, and you got a team.
Yeah, you got to have a team.
So
We're
I love the game. I still love it. I think we're gonna go back and play around with it some more as you guys develop some more stuff on it. And yeah, the only thing I was missing is a weak mode for the weak checkpoint player. And
well,
a lot of my friends, they were like, we don't give a fuck. We're just because every time we would go deeper. So
yeah,
the thing we always say to ourselves in that case is we're like, well, we're making progress.
yeah. As
But
long
we
as
do
you're
have to
making
start from the beginning.
progress, it's yeah,
But yeah, the horror and the suspense after a while, it does after a few hours of playing, it was grinding us. We're just like, okay,
you
I
got to
gotta
be
go.
a little bit of a masochist.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it is masochistic. It definitely is. But it's fun. It's thrilling. I mean, it's not only suspenseful and horror, but it's the thrill, and it
Yeah,
just gives you that drug where you're just like, oh yeah, we gotta clear this room. And yeah, just a lot of fun. So
and the
anything more we need to know about you guys, what you guys are building here, GTFO, etc.
No, I mean, basically we've said it. Like this is a game aimed towards people who like playing games in cooperative, squad, uh, you know, players, Rainbow Six sort of people more than Left 4 Dead, I'd say, because there's more of a strategic and a tactical aspect to the game
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
most other games that you would compare it to. So you will be able to play with random people, but it's not recommended because it's so easy
Yeah, you definitely
to fail when you're not communicating and you don't have the shorthand and everything. And it starts even in the loadout screen, like choosing the gear and really
and
committing
you can see what
to
they
the
have
team.
too. I like that aspect.
Yeah, you can see what everyone else is carrying, and you should discuss what should I bring in order to complement what everyone else has.
And that works really good on that load screen because anytime I'm in any other sort of raid or dungeon or anything like that, where we always have to ask us, what are you wearing? What are you running? There's ways you can go look it up, but it's a real pain in the ass. You got to go through a couple screens. So I like the way you guys build it up. But yeah, this is one of those games I was just hugely addicted to from the get go, and most of my friends were too. And anybody who's been a raider or dungeon runner, who likes the cerebral effect of a game as opposed to just shooting and killing things, but you'll really love shooting and killing things. It's great. The graphics
you got a little
are
bit
awesome.
of that as well.
Yeah, I think my friend had it jacked up to, I think 2K. I think he did, and it was running pretty good for him. The graphics are awesome. I mean, it really looks like a polished, finished game as far as I'm concerned. But I just loved it. So if you can get a chance, guys, check it out. You can go to gtfothegame.com. You can also sign up to be ambassador with them at 10chambers.com, or if you want more background thing on the company, you can add them to your wish list on Steam.
Please do. Yes,
I definitely highly would recommend it. You can apply to be an ambassador if you want. Share the message. Look for the Discord. Look for their stuff on Twitter. Anything more we need to cover there?
No.
All right, we got it all. Check it out, guys. I highly recommend it. I had a lot of fun with it, and I think you will too. And I think once the game is like fully finished, it's just going to be freaking amazing. And it's so different than any other game that's out there in the marketplace, at least in my opinion. So that's what I'm saying, to stick it to it. All right. Well, thanks for being on with me on the show, Simon. We certainly appreciate it. Tell all the guys there at GTFO. It's awesome. And
thanks for having me.
To seeing the finished part of the game. Maybe having you guys back on at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd be happy to come back.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thanks to my audience for tuning in. We certainly appreciate you. And we'll see you next time.